What is up, and welcome back to another episode of So There's That. I am your hostess, doing the mostest, Kiwanchi, and we are here with Spartacus House of Ashur, Season 1, Episode 7, titled Deepest Wound. Now, this aired on January 9th, and we missed the 16th, so it was a little bit of a bye week, if you know, sports lingo. And I decided not to put this up last week because it legitimately is a revenge episode, a plot line episode. Chess moves are being made, checkers moves are being made, and I was like, you know what, I need to watch this, and then I need everybody to gag with me on the eve of the new episode coming out Friday, January 23rd. Like, it's crazy. And it's supposed to be a storm this weekend too. So this is just the perfect time for you to snuggle up, okay, and just binge these episodes and watch the nuggets from 1 through episode 8 this weekend, back to back to back to back to back. We have 3 episodes left, and y'all already know your girl be predicting things and thinking things, and so it's really nice to be vindicated a little bit, but it's also insane the way that they're able to shock you in ways that aren't necessarily like big or grand, but within the dialogue and within like who is like an ally to who is showing themselves to be an enemy to somebody else. And that is the best part, okay? Seduce and scheme, seduce and scheme. All my rap shit girlies, you know what I'm talking about. But let's get into the episode, because I fear we won't be here too long, because again, this episode got tweaked, okay? And I want to do the same. So this episode was directed by Mark Beesley. The writer was Beverly Okhio, and the cinematographer was Dave Garbett. So we're gonna break this down based on like relationships while, you know, doing a bit of a recap. You've been here long enough, you already know what it is. So starting off, Achillia is back on the mend, okay? She's looking good, she's feeling good. Kelladis now has a reason to see her away from everybody else's eyes, and she's like, babe, arm me up. And Kelladis is like, I'm so happy you're back, but we need to make sure that you're 100%. And she was like, but I know what I can be 100% at. She didn't say that, but the body language was languaging, okay? So she ends up coming back out to the sands against his wishes. And I really love this scene. And shout out to the black man that started banging his sword on his shield. Like, it's just something about being in this house full of men. You're already othered. Everybody's kind of doing this whole like jock gang up on the girl because that's the cool thing to do. And the one person who looks like her is the one that begins the welcome back. And of course, everybody else follows, because I mean, the majority of them are followers, but they never had a reason to actually dislike her. They were just all stuck up in Tarkan's ass for whatever reason. And so to see like they genuinely cared about her recovery, and somebody outside of Tarkan, Ephesius, and Eratos were the ones who... Is his name Eratos? I've been calling him the wrong name. Hold on, because I think I put it in my notes last week. Like, I've been calling this man the wrong name. I don't have it in there. I think it's Erato. I've been putting an S on the end for no reason. Anyways, the main little trio. It was nice to see somebody outside of them not having to be guided in their actions by Tarkan. It was completely independent, and they all welcomed her. So not only is she feeling better, the doctor did what he was supposed to do, and now he's a full-time hire because Operator's not here anymore. So she getting back to the training, and she's like, This little boy is not going to take my place. Give me my weapons. And so, you know, she's sparring with Tarkhan because he's getting on her last fucking nerves. And of course he exploits her wounds. Duh. Like, that's what's going to happen in the arena. And so Calidus snatches her up and he was like, I told you, you are going to need to change your style. How about you take up the spear? And she's like, I'm not doing that. And he was like, girl, you get a small little shield. You've been complaining about the ones that we have being too heavy. You got your left hand, your non-dominant hand cut. It's more agile. It moves at you. She's like, I'm not doing it. He's like, okay, why not? She's like, that's my business. So whatever, he leaves it at that, right? And so we're going on about our day, and Tarkhan is still talking shit because the only reason he's even the interim house champion is because his dad got promoted temporarily to Doctore. So you're not even second choice, bruh. You're third in line, but okay, sure. So Achillia, she's like, you know what? I'm gonna be his stepmama anyway, so let me put him in his place. So she's like, give me the spear and give me my shield. So Calidus is like, okay, now we can work with this. Like, you know, she's amenable. She listens, okay? She's not that undisciplined. She's not that stubborn, okay? So she goes out there. She's doing things. Tarkhan is just like, okay, girl, whatever. I did this earlier. I could do this all day. My good sis started to whip that spear around and getting to beat that ass. Calidus is looking like, hold up. Her form is nothing that I've seen before. Like, what is the mystery behind here? And she proceeds to give Tarkhan what he needs when the spear against his face goes bump, bump, bump. And she was whooping his ass. It was well deserved. Like, oh my God, it was like beating up the bully. And you know you can beat up the bully. You're the only one standing up to the bully, and finally you're just like, you know what? Let me go beat his ass for shits and giggles. But of course, she's still haunted and plagued by bits and pieces of her past from wherever she comes from. And it stalls her just enough for Tarkhan to get his footing and knock her down. But of course he has a tantrum because, again, he is a child, okay? And Calidus is like screaming for him to back off. But it's like, at that point, he's fighting off pure emotion because he knows she got the better of him. He did not win that, right? If she didn't have PTSD, babe, you were on your way to be sent into the walls of the lettuce. But you know what? Whatever. Like, trauma shows up when you don't want it. You're living your best life and out of nowhere you're crying, you're having these crazy memories. And I'm screaming at the TV like, girl, repression is a bad thing, but push it down, girl, push it down. But I bet you Tarkhan not gonna be talking shit come episode 8. Like, ain't no way. Ain't no way. And I need her to come out there ready to go. Okay? And so with Tarkhan and Calidus, again, it was touched on last episode where he's like, you know, why do you keep defending her? Like, why are you putting all this energy and stuff into her? And even the way that he knew his son was finna do some foul shit, and the way that he screamed and the way that he protects her, like, the cat is peeking out of the bag on whatever this is. And I guess since their lifespan is really not that long, we're just gonna call it a relationship, okay? At this point, we're moving at the speed of U-Haul lesbians. It is what it is. That's his woman. Nobody really lasts long for, you know, exchanging of vows. So we're just gonna start calling people like husband and wife, husband and husband. You know, we're just gonna start doing the things because the people who linking up, you know, probably not gonna see the end of the year. Probably not the end of the season. So I want to bestow upon them the sacred and the sanctimonious title. So that, you know, we can cuddle up with the softer parts of this cruel world. So, speaking of being cruel, y'all, I didn't mean to laugh, but Cossutia is mourning Opera, and it is so ridiculous. Like, even Garbett is like, girl, I know that was your best friend, but like, you're doing a lot. And she's like, get out of my face. I'm gonna mourn my friend the way that I want to. And Garbett was like, now I know he was mourning your friend, and he was sneaking you dick on the side. And Cossutia was like, what? And he's like, oh no, never mind. Yeah, sure, throw a party in his honor, sorrows, prayers. And, we kind of move on a little bit. But my thoughts, I'm going to insert a thought here about that. Garbett is very calculating. And he already said in episode 2 that, the people closest to him, who should be his confidant, who should be honest with him the most, are the ones that he trusts the least. And so while he loves his wife and there is a loyalty there, does he not trust her? Like, does him bringing this up kind of cast a cloud of suspicion more than an admittance and an acceptance of, he's probably not bedding her down. So why shouldn't she have men on the side, right? But, we're moving past it in the face of grief. Now, y'all already know Ashur went and blabbed, so Operator couldn't legally turn over any of his stuff to Ashur. And so now it's up for public auction. So Ashur was moving to get Cornelia to basically bankroll all of this. And he tells her, hey, this is what was going on, but he was killed. Help her brother out. So she's like, all right, whatever, cool. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. So we're doing the bid, and Proculus is bidding, Ashur is bidding. Proculus is bidding, Ashur is bidding. And so it finally gets up to a thing like 22,000. And they were like, okay, you got the money now. And Ashur was like, oh, House Caesar is going to be taking the payment on this and settling that debt. And Cornelia comes out and she was like, I don't know what you're talking about. In front of everybody. I'm just like, she lives to inflate him, and then she comes back with a knife to just stab that balloon and just destroy it. After building it up, after pushing it to the edges of its limits, to the edges of greatness, and she knows that she has this power and she uses it, it honestly might be the greatest weapon that we've seen. She uses power in a way that we really haven't seen anybody else use. She doesn't have to fight you. She doesn't have to inflict a physical wound in order to do the most fatal damage. So she's like, yeah, you didn't do nothing for me and the outcome didn't go my way. So guess what? You think I'm going to stick my neck out for some Syrian, for some dirty little man? Absolutely not. And so she wanders off. And so everybody's laughing again. They're all gonna laugh at you. And honestly, I'm just not sure how much Ashur can take. I need to know more of his backstory than we've been told, because I just feel like the level of tongue biting, I don't even want to say resilience, because he's perseverance. I will say that perseverance and tenacity. Because fuck, at this point, kill everybody. He has reasons, right? And I support this. So all of this is happening, and he's like, all right, whatever, cool, I'm gonna take that on the chin. Honestly, I know better not to trust this bitch, but it is what it is. Cool. And so he finds Cossutia, and, you know, she ain't really happy to see him. She's like, bro, my bestie just died. Like, why are you here in my face? And he's like, hey, no, you think the Cilicians did it? Seems like they're getting set up all over the place. It wasn't them. It was actually Proculus. And so she's like, this is a bold accusation. And he's like, listen, you're over here thinking that Korris embarrassed himself and embarrassed my house out in the public, but absolutely not. He saw the chain that Operator wore all the time on the hip of one satirist. And Korris was getting ready to leave town with Operator and go live their best life. And so you kind of see this moment where she's just like, oh my God, like, I didn't even know that they were that close. And Ashur's like, you know, Korris likes to keep things to the best, but like they were dead serious. And Operator literally told me I can take everything that he has. All he wanted was to live the rest of his life, or whatever life that they would have before one or both of them succumb to some illness or whatever, with his men. That was it. And he was like, you know, he accidentally mentioned it to Proculus. The only other person who knew what was going on with Operator was Proculus, aside from Ashur and Korris. And now all of a sudden he's gone, and now it's some Cilicians, these random people. How would they know? And so he's like, listen, I think we can do some things together. That was your best friend. That was my best friend's man. What's up? So she's like, okay, cool. Like, I'll think about this, because like, this is crazy. And I don't like you. So, you know, she's like, why would you even tell me this? And she knows he's always doing something to position himself to be in the good graces of Gabinius. And she knows that they've had at least one conversation that she wasn't around, because Gabinius told her about it. So it's like, okay, cool. Proculus, you know, he weasels himself on him. And he's like, hey, girl, you good? And Cossutia is like, actually, the Syrian tells me that it was by your hand that my friend is dead. And Proculus is like, that's crazy. But even if this was true, I think, you know, you and I can work together, you know, to get the Syrian out of here once and for all, okay? And she's like, he told me you did it, bro, and this is the reason that you did it. And he's like, are you gonna believe that dirty man over me? Do you see my robes? Do you see this bowl cut? Okay, this is the elite bowl cut. They carve men's heads, and this is the shape of it for forever. Ma'am, let's get back at him for daring put these thoughts inside your grieving mind. And she's like, okay, so here's this. I'll tell him I'm meeting with him, and we're gonna do it in some obscure place, okay? Can't nobody know about this. He just needs to disappear, right? And I'm gonna be like, hey, meet me at the altar in your right dress. I'm gonna have all the things together, and we're gonna do the do, right? And then you can go in and you can sneak in and take him out once and for all, because honestly, we're all tired of him. And Proculus is like, big. Okay. Well, Ashur is there. He's looking around, you know, some arena somewhere. And he's like, oh, Cossutia, like, where are you at? And here's that whistling tune from the Brothers Ferox. So they come into the arena, and then there's like 3 or 4 other dudes with them, and it was like, yeah, you thought that that woman was on your side, and now you're not leaving this arena alive. And Ashur's like, huh, that's crazy that you would trust a woman of a certain age, because babes, the double cross is an actual double cross. Oh man. And then here comes Ashur's men. Now the Brothers Ferox Satirus is pissed, right? He's like, goddamn. But it's still like the 3 brothers and 4 other dudes, and then I think Ashur brought 4 or 5 of his men, and Ashur finna get in the arena too. He can't stand them, okay? He ain't forget about that incident in the square when they started throwing them fucking tomatoes at him, and then everybody started throwing food. Got to get that lick back. When a big heavy presence walks into the arena and enters Korris, Ashur was like, I should have fucking known. Alright, bruh, what you want to do? And Korris was like, all of y'all can stand by. If I need you, you'll know. But I'm about to kill everybody up in here. Ain't nobody leaving this arena. So at this point, Satirius, you know, it's a little shaky there. I don't know what is in my eye. Is it a piece of hair? Is it a lash? So the men are still looking pretty confident. They're like, oh, he's old. You know, he was a champion a long time ago. Like, he ain't nobody. But Satirius, it seems that he knows Korris' reputation precedes him. So there's a little bit of like a crack to the bravado in his face. Y'all, Korris came out there like a madman. The crazed look in his eye, like, oh my God, give Graham McTavish his 10s. Absolute scene stealer performance of that week in this episode. The look in his eyes was like a wild, rabid animal, and he just had one thing pounding in his head: kill them all, okay? Dracarys. And so everybody getting their ass beat. All the big men gone, legs chopped, heads chopped, bones cracked, hearts pierced, done. Now, the brothers are so shaken. Remember, they're used to fighting as one mind, as a singular person. But they ain't never faced nobody like this. It's one thing in the arena to face an opponent who has like a strategy, who has a foundation, who has like a rhythm and a movement. It's like the art of like boxing, right? You're not street fighting, you know, you ain't just swinging wild. You're looking at people's body language, and you're looking to see if they're gonna fake left and go right. If you can predict it, can you block, can you dodge, can you do all of these other things, right? But when the person that you're fighting is moving without rhyme or rhythm and just emotion, coupled with decades of skill, it takes a certain type of person to survive this long being a gladiator and making it to Doctore, right? That is rare. Ain't nobody else's Doctore that old, right? And he can still move. Already survived an assassin attempt in the streets of Capua, and now he's here. So there's nothing that you can predict. And this is the fracture that separates the brothers Ferox. He took one of their brothers and skewered my man's like a shish kebab. It was crazy. So Satirius is like, oh my God. And the other brother is trying to run and get away, and Korris grabs him and swings him, okay, like a rag doll. North Carolina, come on and raise up, take your shirt off, twist it around your head with it like a helicopter, and smash that man's brains against the brick walls. Satirius is like, oh my God. This is the worst shit I've ever seen in my life. Like, my brothers are dead. And what did Calidus tell Achillia when they were training her? You just need to divide them. That is all. Once you can find the weakness in one, then you can fight 3 individuals instead of fighting 3 people who think as one mind. So Satirius is like backing up. He was like, I just was doing what I was told. And Korris was like, and, you know, I'll give it to Satirius. He made like one last hoorah to try to run up on Korris. And Korris just kicks him in the chest. He just kicks him in the chest. And he raised that sword and screamed and slammed it down. Y'all. Okay, so sidebar. I was in a short film, and the way that Korris did that shot, my first short film that I did, it was like almost the exact shot. And so I was like, oh, I have a scene like that. I just had like a random like moment, like, man, that is so cool. Especially when you're the cameraman laying on the ground trying to get that shot. So dope. Anyways, not about me. So he slams it down. And so Terrence is like, I'm still alive? Bitch. And Korris is like, I got a message for you to send back, okay? Tell your mans that the House of Ashur is gonna beat his ass. Okay, we're burying him deep into the earth, beyond the gates of Hades, okay? In the sands of the arena. And, you know, he probably shattered himself a little bit, probably at the start of the slaughter and probably at the end. But, you know, he made it out with his life, whimpering. And honestly, I was sad to see him go out like that. And even Ashur was like, you know, I wouldn't have let him live. And Korris is like, well, I'm not like you. And Ashur's like, no, like you way better than me, because that was the first head that was gonna roll. And Korris is like, you know, I think I'm good now. I want to reclaim, you know, my title as Doctore. And Ashur's like, I would have no other honor than for you to return at my side so we can beat Praxeas' ass. So, there's that. Spartacus, episode 7, Deepest Wound. Now, first things first. I think everybody could kind of predict, and I did say this, the episode that Operator died, I was like, okay, Korris is definitely gonna crash out. And I was like, I hope, the hope is that Ashur is there with him when he finds out, and that neither one, like both of them don't crash out at the same time. So it was really nice to see like Ashur hold it together for Korris. And I think it was so smart to jail him during this time. This is one of those things where, like, you know, we've seen a lot of the brotherly banter and, you know, the lightness and the, you know, fuck you and fuck you too, but, you know, the hand on the shoulders that says, like, I will ride to hell and back with you. But this is the first time where there's this level of grief in their relationship that deepens it in a way that changes it, right? It only gets closer. And to know the story of how Ashur's family died and how he witnessed all of these things, it's like you're watching your best friend, your brother, go through something that you would never wish upon anybody. And all you can do is allow him the space to burn it out of his system like a child. Like, let them get it out, let them cry themselves to sleep. They eventually will get tired. But Korris, listen, Korris wasn't getting tired at the beginning. Like, he beat everybody's ass getting out of that cage. And then all the people on the sands trying to hurry up and go get him before he goes and storms and just go kills everybody blindly. Like, the fact that Kellis had to come over and like basically knock him out, like, that is pain, and it is wild, and the grief has nowhere to land except the tip of his sword on whomever was responsible. And so I like that Ashur was able to admit to him, like, I might be the reason, right? And, you know, there's a little like he's mad, like he's pissed, but, you know, Ashur is able to get to him. Ashur is able to get to him and be like, we have to think this through. We have to be strategic. They're already trying to set up other people, and they already think that we are lesser than them. So we have to approach this in the same way that they approached killing Operator. And so him finally killing everybody in the arena was him finally getting tuckered out. But on the other side of that is like, bruh, can Kellis be like Deputy Doctore or something? Y'all keep moving him out of the job. he was Doctore, now he's back on the sands, and now he's gonna be the champion because he won, but then Korris is getting ready to leave with his men, so now he's getting a raise and he's gonna be Doctore. But then Korris came back because his man is dead, and now we thinking Korris is gonna get back, but Korris is out of his damn mind. And so now Kelladis got to do the job again, but now Korris is good, so he's coming back like, damn. Kelladis, like, I don't know, maybe he needs to be like Ashur's personal guard or some shit, because what? Can my man keep a job? A son? Please, please. I would love that for him. My other thoughts, honestly, like, Achillia needs to just beat the dog shit out of Tarkhan. I need her to have another memory and just put his face as the enemies or something. I don't know if it's getting on my nerves yet, but in episode 8, I'm gonna need like her solid, locked in, beating bitches up. Like, that's all I need. She don't need to be back in the arena for real. And with all of these different deaths with Opiter and Proculus's men, you know, we're gonna have to postpone these games anyway. And I just want her to just go ham on Tarkhan. This will definitely push him to plot on her death a lot faster. And I still think that that's gonna be the thing where Kelladis makes a stand and a choice between his son and his woman, okay, his wife, right? So, I still think both Kelladis or Tarkhan, I don't think both of them are coming out of season 1 together. If they do, hard enemies. Hard. And it's going to hurt. But I don't see this being good. Speaking of things not being good, somebody explain to me, okay, because sometimes I need help. What was the purpose of Cornelia drugging Ashur and then setting that whole thing up? Like, was the drug thing supposed to be the thing that got him to get her what she wanted? Because she had already sent him to convince Gabinius to turn Viridia over to, what's his name? What's that man's name? Quintus. There we go. So I'm like, what else is there? But this is crazy because obviously he was imagining Viridia and it was Hilara, and she's like, these are all the things that I've always wanted to hear. And so next episode might be awkward because I feel like in the next episode, this is what I think is going to happen. So first prediction, I think the news about Proculus's men is gonna get out. Period. I think that because Proculus' men died, he will know Cossutia is actually double-crossed him. Okay? So, boom. Hard enemies. I think Cossutia will confide in Viridia because she's still going to be mourning Opiter, and she's going to tell Viridia the truth about Opiter's death and his relationship to Korris. I think that information is going to get Viridia back on over to the House of Ashur. She's going to give her condolences and her heartfelt, grievances to Korris because she lost a husband too, and she knows what that feels like, and it is a wound that will be slow to heal, but you will only try to move forward. Then I think she's going to turn to Ashur and say, I can't imagine the position that you are in and having to watch your brother live in pain. But I think that we can all band together to see the House Proculus go down in the sands of the arena. During that time, I think Hilara's going to walk on up in here, and I think she might happen upon a kiss because Viridia's presence is going to spark his memory of being drug-induced fucking Hilara the next night. And I think he's going to see both Hilara and Viridia's image in his memory. And he may make a confession that Hilara overhears. Okay? Then I think Messia is going to see Hilara overhearing this confession. Maybe a kiss. Okay? It's about time for things to heat up, right? It's going to be episode 8. And Messia is going to be like, bitch, told you. So you need to be over here and you need to be picking your alliances because I'm with Domina and she got more power than everybody. And when she gone, I'm gone. Then I think Messia is going to be running right on back over to Cornelia. And here's my prediction for Messia. Y'all already know I said she was going to die. And I said I think Hilara's going to slit her throat. Y'all, I think Cornelia might kill Messia. So the reason I think this is because when Cornelia was asking about Ashur, Messia did not hesitate to shit on him. And Cornelia was like, oh, that's like crazy of you to say that. Like, you've been here for quite some time. Like, where's your loyalty, girl? And so Messia was like, I ain't got no loyalty to shit. Like, we all getting treated like whatever. I'm over here answering to you, Domina. Like, you know, I reflect you. You rub mine. Like, that's what it is. And so the reason I think Cornelia will kill her is because that is something that Cornelia noticed. And if you're that easily swayed from the person that is housing you, feeding you, and clothing you, and is the very reason for your life and your sustenance, then how can I trust you beyond using you for my own purposes? And so I think Messia is being lured into a false sense of protection under the power of Cornelia. But Cornelia don't give a fuck about none of y'all at all. She's fucking you and she's gaining information because you're the least loyal bitch in the house. So when it's time for her to leave, why is she taking you with her? Because you seem to only have an allegiance to yourself and you don't believe in anything higher than yourself. So if you're this quick to turn on your dominance when somebody else with more power shows up, then who's to say you're not going to do the same thing to me when something else that's more advantageous or somebody more powerful shows up over me? I think Cornelia is going to kill Messia. Said it. You heard it here. Don't. That is a string. I literally just gave how episode 8 is gonna go when it comes to Proculus, Cossutia, Viridia, Korris, Ashur, Cornelia, Messia timeline. Like, listen, y'all know I'm a seer. Y'all know I'm tuned into my third eye's mind, babes. One or some of those things are gonna happen. I can't be wrong on that whole thing. I can't. But if I am, that would have been solid. Like, that would have been a solid take. I'd be happy with it. Let's see. Another prediction, which is kind of in the vein of what I was just talking about. Obviously, Ashur and Cossutia are going to collude together against the house of Proculus. At this point, I feel like Cossutia has no choice, regardless of her prejudice, to at least admit that Ashur and Korris, for whatever reason, even if the reason is his liking towards Viridia, has not only saved y'all's life, but Korris's relationship with Operator got you the truth of what happened to your friend. And so your, not happiness, but they have common ground with who they love and who they care about. And so it's like, I'm hoping Cossutia is flexible towards Ashur. She's definitely going to be towards Korris because she's the one who hired him to get killed. So there's guilt there. I do wonder if she will admit it. Korris seems to be a forgiving man. And I think if Cossutia admits it but frames it in a way where she's like, you know, that was the past. These were my thoughts. These were the things. This is the information that I was working from because of X, Y, and Z. I think it could be something that Ashur would sweep under the rug. Who's not trying to kill each other? Hello? Proclus is here. And so I think Ashur would sweep it under the rug as a benefit of a renewed relationship moving forward. And from there, they can share the information about what Cornelia has been doing behind people's back. And circling back to Cornelia, she embarrassed the fuck out of Ashur. I just feel like there's some type of scheme that we have not seen on screen that Ashur is running. And I hope that this is the truth. Like, Cornelia cannot get away with this. But so far, we've just seen him just defer and concede. But I'm just like, there's no way a man like Ashur isn't storing some shit in the back of his mind and strengthening certain relationships and gathering information behind everybody's back, maybe even Korris's, right? And so I hope that is the thing. That's like a soft prediction, right? The other ones, I'm like 95% locked in on everything else that I said. And then my last prediction is that this is a soft one too. I don't know how it will work, but Proclus is a weasel, so I figure like something could happen. I feel like Proclus is going to have to get on Cornelia, ergo Caesar's side for protection. Because at this point, episode 8, it's out in the open. It's out in the open. The people that need to know that you were behind this now know. Okay? And I just thought about this. So Caesar and Ashur and Operator were the ones who had like the fake Cilicians, but it was Caesar's men to basically scare Viridia, Cossutia, whatever. But Proclus used that same guise and used the Cilician symbol to try to trick people into thinking that the Cilicians killed Operator. Ashur can then plant that it was Proclus who hired the men to try to kidnap and kill Viridia and Cossutia. Because at this point, a fact has already been proven. And you used that route. And so now, in order for Ashur to really do a get back and flip it around, he could just put that in the air to Gabinius and Cossutia and they'll believe it. And so now that's even more of a reason to end him. And so he's going to need power and protection, and the most powerful person that he has access to is Cornelia right now. Will she help? Not without him giving like his damn blood type, social security number, and at least 3 generations of his children as her slaves. Like that, he gonna have to sign over a lot. But I can see him trying to weasel his way into that, and I can see them connecting the fake Cilician to throw people off the path onto Proclus prior to his death. I don't know. Y'all tell me. I'm seeing it. The things are like in my brain right now, just like connecting everything like a web, and it's crazy. It's crazy. This episode was insane. Perfectly placed. So I'm hoping that 8, 9, and 10 are just ridiculous. I do feel like there's going to be a little bit more scheming, a little bit more plotting in episode 8. Not fully a filler episode, but the pace of like the information being spread and people understanding and learning everything that's going on. We're going to get the conversations that need to be had like in a typical filler, but I think the pace is going to be rushed because now we have to get ahead of a lot of these things. We have to get Ashur the house. some way, shape, or form? Or will Gabinius and them absorb the house into their lettuce and just have Ashur oversee it? I don't know. If that relationship kind of mends the way that I think it will, that would actually be good, because then Ashur wouldn't have to fund the lettuce. And then what else? Yeah, so I think like the conversations are going to happen to set up the penultimate and the finale, but I think it's going to move fairly quickly. So we're going to see a lot of, I think, from like a governmental level and from like all the Dominus houses kind of like shuffling, because now like shit is moving, right? I do feel like we're going to go back to the Sands. Korris is going to be really hungry to get a few champions lined up to kill all of Proculus's men in the arena. But I'd be shocked if we spent more than half of episode 8 in the lettuce. I'd be shocked, because I feel like right now that's not like a primary focus. We need to know what the powers that be are doing. Every time we're on the Sands, they're always making these moves. They're always having these other conversations. So I would like to see that from a political standpoint, from a power move standpoint. I would like the majority of episode 8 to be about that. But I also would like it to focus too on Hilara and Messia's relationship. That is what I want. I said that was my final prediction, but I just remembered something else. I don't think this is going to happen in episode 8, but it might be episode 9. Tarkhan, we already know that he's like hyper emotional, and he doesn't use his emotions to his advantage, basically. So I'm not going to like discount him having emotions. He should. And being emotional can fuel you and be a powerful tool if you aren't like white out blind from it. And this girl that he's clearly in love with has been harmed by the man who keeps her at his side. And so he's like, you know, make sure the next time we're in the arena that you put him to the front. And so, you know, he has this beef with Achillia, but I'm like, that ain't the thing you need to be worried about. Your death is going to come either between Achillia and your father, or this woman and your ego. And I just feel like either way, Tarkhan's death is going to be because of a woman. It's either going to be the enemy or it's going to be the one that he's in love with. And I think he's going to do something so fucking stupid. If we do get in the arena, we should be in the arena episode 9. Definitely episode 10. He either is going to die, or we're going to get a cliffhanger of a very grave injury that kind of leaves his contract up in the air going from season 1 to season 2. But his head is not on his shoulders for real. It's everywhere it should not be. Everywhere that it shouldn't be. Celibacy would do this man wonders. Meditation, stretching, massages, something. But his fuse is just so short, and it is blocking all of the things that should be going on and taking place in his frontal lobe. Like, I don't know, man. I don't see it. Like, love Jordy Weber, but Tarkhan is making some very dumb decisions. And so when I said people are playing chess and people are playing checkers, Tarkhan is playing checkers. And he don't realize it. It's like, so my youngest brother is all my siblings are grown, but my youngest brother, there's a huge age gap. I remember when he would want to play video games and stuff with us, and so I would have my remote controller and I would have him sit next to me, and I would take the cord and hide it behind the game system, and I would use another game controller to kind of hold it in place so he would think that he was playing, even though I was playing a computer. I think that's what's happening with Tarkhan. Like, there's chess boards, everybody's playing chess, and somebody just told him the game that he's playing is chess. But he is not, he's playing checkers actually. And so, yeah, I don't know, the writing's on the wall with that one. I would love to have Kelladis in season 2. His emotional beats are just incredible. It's just really nice to see that type of emotion from him and from Korris and even from Ashur. It's not like a raw man, hear me roar, slinging my dick around, I'm the best person out here, I'll kill everybody. It's very soft and it's sentimental, and those three have the emotions that come with wisdom, that comes with time, that comes with heartbreak, that comes with victory. And so they are just very well-rounded characters. And so when they're kind of all on the screen together and they're mixed in with all of this other testosterone, it really just grounds everything. I saw a tweet, somebody tweeted Steve McKnight, and they were like, I didn't think that I would like the show or Ashur because of the backstory that I know, but the way that you're able to get people to empathize with him and be on his side by expanding on more of the layering of why he made the decisions that he had, along with this approach of, you know, the what if alternate universe scenario. They were just like wowed at how they're like team Ashur. And, you know, from the interview, if y'all saw the interview that I did with Steven and Nick, that's basically that. Like, that's basically that. Like, you took a character who the fandom didn't like, for real, regardless of, you know, him being like, I was the underdog and what was me and life isn't fair. And they made it be like, oh my God, life was not fair. And look, everybody's still treating you like you're still like that person from your past. And I think Ashur represents people's inability to allow other people grow, right? You see it all the time on the internet. They'll be like, I don't know, Selena Gomez posted something and it was like kind. And then somebody's like posting a screenshot of a tweet or an Instagram comment from like 2008 and they're like, I'll never forget. And it's like, that was 13 years ago. Was this person not allowed to mature, learn, grow, look at their past and be like, wow, I was a really fucked up individual? And so I feel like what's happening with a lot of fans, especially ones who hated Ashur, I think they're realizing and connecting and understanding, like, through Ashur, like, wow, I would love to get a second chance. I would love for people to see me in the work that I did to grow and not hold me to my past transgressions, and not like necessarily like, I mean, hold people to like, you know, crimes and like abuse and like rape and shit like that. But it's like, we make mistakes. We are terrible. We only get less terrible because we're allowed to live long enough to be like, wow, I was the fucking dumbest, meanest, most assholey person on this fucking planet. And as you age, the things that you used to laugh at, the things that you used to congregate around the social media water cooler to poke fun at, you realize that is stupid, okay? And so then with Ashur, that's basically the state that he's in, like, okay, y'all, like, let it go, please. And so the audience is looking at that and they're just like, yeah, why aren't they letting it go? Like, he didn't do nothing to y'all, like, the fuck? Like, let him live, let him expand, let him, afford him the opportunity to show you that he's changed, afford him the opportunity to show you that he's grown, let him get the opportunity to give you the reasons why, because his why probably relates to yours. The only difference is you were born rich and he wasn't. That's it. And so, yeah, I definitely think that's why a lot of people are connecting with Ashur and why this series just stands completely separate from its predecessor. Like, again, they're in the same family tree, but it's a few generations past, and this, like, House of Ashur is like House of Ashur. And I'm really excited for this generation if they didn't watch when Spartacus first came out. Like, I am a like Spartacus head, babes. If this is their first introduction into Spartacus, I'm so excited for the group of like House of Ashur Spartacus fans that don't really know the past, and so they're just like, Ashur, whatever. Because it was fun when Spartacus first came out, and it was that same frenetic energy and just like like type of thing. So, as somebody who is 36, I'm like looking out to beyond the people who are fans like me, but I'm looking at like the new fans, and I'm just like, yes, come into the family, baby. It's fun over here. And so yeah, definitely looking forward to that. But I said I wasn't going to be in here talking for an hour. It's been 55 minutes and 41 seconds. Jesus Christ. I'm just a passionate girl. I talk too fucking much. And so with that, we're going to end this episode. Y'all know the drill. Like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Leave comments in the comments box below. If you got people that only want to listen to it, make sure you share the Spotify and the Apple Podcast links. And you can leave comments over there. I got a few people commenting on some Spartacus episodes, and they're saying like I'm one of the only people talking about it on a podcast platform. So again, I'm here for y'all. You ain't got to watch me. You can listen to it on your commute, in the gym, whatever. I'm here. I'm everywhere, right? Also on Instagram at So There's That Podcast, where I post film and TV news and updates. I also have the link to my publication as well. So you can either type in www.sothere'sthatpodcast.com, or you can go into the bio, click directly on the link, or if you already saved my page under the Substack page, all of it is linked to my website domain. So you can just go to www.sothere'sthatpodcast.com, and it'll take you to all of my articles. We're almost at 100 articles, guys. Like, your girl is moving at a nice solid pace, being one of one, okay? But I'm here to deliver these things to you. I was gonna do it anyway because I love it, but hello, the community is growing. Speaking of the community, shout out to all of the new followers. If you are new here, what's up? Hello, it's crazy over here. When I tell you to comment, I mean it. I literally comment. I think I looked at my analytics. I think my wife looked at my analytics, and it was like a 99. It was like over 90% comment reply rate. I try to reply to everybody I can, even if it's a thought or an idea or an analysis that I don't agree with. As long as it's respectful, I'll chat with you. I sit here and talk for an hour by myself. Like, I'll chat. So welcome and thank y'all for being here. Again, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. And again, you can find me on TikTok at Kivanshi, where I do short form review on TV shows. I'll focus on specific things in episodes that I may not get to or I forget in the podcast episode. And I do more of my film reviews on TikTok as well. You can find me on Twitter at Kivanshi. That is my main Twitter page, where I talk about everything under the guise of entertainment. So anything entertainment, whether it's music, whether it's television, the umbrella. And the official podcast Twitter page at Pod So There's That. So yeah, to subscribers old and new, just be on the lookout for like subtle changes and things like as I grow, as I expand, as I'm trying to figure out like my schedule and what works so that I don't overwork myself. Things are going to be coming up at least once a quarter. That is the pace that I told myself, is to do something new or to expand at least once a quarter. So be on the lookout for that. And let's see, is my companion still in here? Demetrius. Demi. Is he asleep? Come here. Come on. Say bye-bye to the people before we leave. All right. Say bye-bye. Bye-bye. Say see you next episode. No? Okay. I will catch y'all in the next episode. Right. You gonna wave? He hates this shit. Y'all, I'm out.